Sydney's CBD was shut down this morning after the execution-style murder of underworld figure Bilal Hamze. Officers were called to the intersection of Bridge and Pitt Streets just before 10:30 last night. Following reports, a man had been shot by an unknown person in a black car. Bilal Hamze is the cousin of Brothers for Life gang leader Bilal Hamze. Last month, New South Wales crime reporter Mark Reddy was given a rare insight into the day-to-day operations of Strike Force Raptor, the specialist unit taking on organised crime.
As morning breaks, these officers are preparing to break the underworld.
We've got information that the occupant is involved in the supply and manufacture of amphetamine. If we can target the drug trade as well, it takes out the sort of reason behind the violence.
Heavily armed and in protective gear, these men belong to Strike Force Raptor, the state's anti-bikie squad, which was expanded to target new organised crime gangs in February. It's on a mission.
Basically to make their lives uncomfortable, to lawfully harass, to make them basically make a choice that they either continue their activities and they'll still have the same pressure, or they leave the organised crime, they leave the bikie group.
Today's target, this home near Penrith in Western Sydney.
Information was received through Crime Stoppers in relation to the manufacture and supply of methamphetamine.
Open the door! On the ground! Police!
Former Bandito bikie Jared Trelaw was arrested in front of his wife. $34,000 in cash and a large amount of steroids were seized from his home, but the investigation didn't stop there. Raids were then conducted on several storage sheds in St Mary's. Police say one had been turned into a drug lab. $300,000 worth of Xanax was found. A loaded handgun, as well as cars and jet skis worth $300,000 were also seized. Mr. Trelaw is now facing 15 serious charges. While this raid was hailed as a victory, sometimes officers leave empty-handed.
Making them uncomfortable to the point that either one, they get arrested and they are incarcerated, or two, they detest from their activities.
Operations like these were triggered by a wave of shootings at the end of last year. First, the Alameddine family was targeted. Then came the murder of Bilal Hamze, the brother of notorious gang leader Bilal Hamze. And then this year, there was a drive-by at a home linked to the Hamzes that didn't go to plan.
It was a stray bullet essentially went past the unit complex and into a hospital there at Auburn, narrowly missing a nurse. The reality was that was, I guess, the catalyst.
And so 3 months in, Raptor is a squad of 95. Come July, that number will be boosted to 115. These scenes have become all too familiar across parts of Sydney over recent months. Sometimes these operations are carried out daily. The aim is not to make arrests, but to wear down members of rival street gangs so they in turn put down their arms.
That's our ethos, to make the streets safer so that the mums and dads and kids can go to their parks, they can walk around, they can stay in their homes and not have to have fear that there's going to be a drive-by shooting or an attack.
In 3 months, Raptor has seized more than $2 million in cash, $20 million worth of drugs, and at least 37 weapons, including 12 guns.
The current focus has been on, suppressing the current conflicts within the Hamze and Alameddine known groups.
Crime's not only limited to two families. Despite what the media, what the police would like to indicate, there are a lot of other members of this community.
Criminal lawyer Ahmed Dib represents the Hamze family along with others. He believes the powers handed to Raptor officers have gone too far.
You're innocent until you're proven guilty. So if you're being targeted, it's almost now reversed that mantra to being guilty until proven innocent.
In one case, the ABC's been told a woman was subjected to a raid simply for having a casual relationship with a gang member. There was no arrest and no charges were laid. 2 years ago, Raptor was found to have engaged in serious misconduct by intimidating a lawyer. That was the finding of the law enforcement watchdog. How do you ensure that this doesn't happen again?
the actions of those officers up there at Grafton were demonstrable. There is no excuse for what occurred, and it's unacceptable to the highest account.
So the challenge for Raptor going forward, striking a balance between the need to protect the public while respecting civil liberties. Mark Reddy, ABC News, Sydney.
And Mark Reddy joins me now in the studio. So Mark, before this latest shooting, it seemed like Strike Force Raptor was having some success with the tactics that we saw there.
Yeah, they certainly were, and really they are still quite on top of this violence. Given this is a high-profile casualty, of course it has made headlines, but in the first quarter of this year there was 17 gang-related shootings. That dropped down to 1 in April and May, and now we're in June, so that boosted up to 2. So really, Raptor is still doing quite a good job in terms of trying to quell that violence. It just happens to be that someone was killed in the heart of the city, which makes it all the more newsworthy. Of course, this happened on Bridge Street, which is right near George Street, the light rail you can see there, and it was busy with people at restaurants. This happened outside a very popular restaurant and was quite disturbing. We also know in that 3-month period when the Raptor squad was expanded to include these new crime networks, that the arrests were up to 115, 300 charges. So there is evidence to suggest that Raptor really is on top of this. However, they are concerned and they are looking at employing different tactics.
And do police have real fears that innocent people could get caught in the crossfire?
They certainly do, and we saw in that story there that a nurse was nearly killed during a drive-by shooting at Auburn Hospital. One of the main tactics they're using are things called serious crime prevention orders, which basically means certain crime gangs are heavily surveyed, so they can't go to certain suburbs, their mobile phones are traced, their GPS is traced, and what that does is it stops them from interacting. However, today we've seen these crime gangs go into the city, so clearly this crime prevention order hasn't stopped them from going there.